Turbo Tuesdays, proudly brought to you by NXTGEN. Obviously, good evening, my name is Mike. Joining us as always is my faithful colleagues, Jack.
Good evening.
And Jordan.
Good evening, everyone.
We are also honoured to welcome a guest today, the one and only Ginge, or otherwise known as Lee. How are we, sir?
Very good, thank you. Evening all. Nice to be invited along. An avid listener, to be fair, and obviously being part of the console community for many years. Missed you guys. Hello.
Aww.
Yeah,
What a way to start.
But much love back by the seams, right?
Don't get jealous. Come on, we've spoken about this. No, but yeah, that's good to have you on, mate. Glad that you've found time out your busy schedule to come and join our good selves here this evening. So,
yeah, no problem. No, it's all good.
Good to hear, right. So we got a little bit to cover tonight. Obviously, resumption of the leagues after the winter break. Obviously, hope everyone had we've already said, nice Christmas and a New Year. So we'll be covering a couple of leagues that have gone on so far this week. Obviously, today's leagues and yesterday's. And we'll also be going over the quiz from last week. Obviously, we said we put the tables up, but then we decided we'll be a little bit more svelte, is the word I'm looking for about it. More discreet, and we'll let you know today. But then again, if anyone had half a brain, they'd probably be able to figure that one out. So, yeah, I think what we should do, though, is, first of all, from the perspective of Lee, because obviously us three know who you are and what you've done in NXTGEN and even before that. Tell us a bit about you and, you know, your contributions to this amazing community.
Well, I'm not quite sure what to say. It's difficult to sit here and start talking about yourself, isn't it? Well, I'm an ugly 46-year-old ginger bloke that lives down in Plymouth and loves sim racing. There you go, that sums it all up.
Do you know what? That's probably the easiest explanation to a person is we've actually had on. Most people spend about 10-15 minutes. Like, yeah, not even a minute. Just that. Yeah, that's pretty much me. Yeah.
Yeah, no. As the guys know, I joined very similar time to Jack actually. NXTGEN, just as a member. Was racing I used to run a group of my own, going way back in the early days when PlayStation was it 3 first or 2 first went on to online ability with
PS2 had the F1 and yeah, so it would have been PS2, yeah.
Soccer race driver and stuff like that, and so I've always been a keen sim racer, stroke, you know, driving games and stuff like that. And as soon as I discovered NXTGEN, as you know, Jack, I joined forces with yourself, started racing, organising leagues, you know, got drafted to admin, and never looked back since. Really enjoy, hosting leagues for other like-minded, clean but competitive racers, and I think NXTGEN's gone from strength to strength. Obviously founded by the likes of Mr. Phil himself, who's still around in the background, and Armin and a couple of the others. I've got a lot of newer admin faces on board now, and running a tremendous amount of leagues, and just enjoying ourselves and putting things out there for other people to enjoy. So it's really good stuff. Love doing it.
And your most recent venture is rallying as well, Lee.
Well, I was wondering whether you're going to mention that actually. I'm, as you know, I moved from console, which I was on for many years, all ever since PS1s, and then last November, not this one gone, the one before, so just over a year now. I was very fortunate. My dear old gran, who's still alive, gave me a bit of inheritance money early and said, spend some money on yourself. So I upgraded a PC and I started racing, but I've always been an absolute maniac touring car man. So I've always just driven touring cars, whether it's the older Group A's or modern days. I did get Dirt Rally 2, and I always used to play Colin McRae, the original Colin McRae's on the PS's, on a wheel, and enjoyed it. I never did any league racing for it though. Ran a lot of touring car leagues, started doing the odd GT3 here and there, but then the other week I was asked if I wanted to put a NXTGEN team together with yourselves, and we've gone across and we've joined the Crest league, which is massive. I can't believe how many drivers are in it. There's 150 drivers are there in that?
I think there's
league?
some like 150 to 180, I think. Because I've been chatting with Alex the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Well, I mean, it's very successful. Alex, who owns and runs Crest, he's a great bloke. I've been collaborating with him for some time now on the WTCR leagues. He's been racing in mine. I've been racing in his. He's been currently broadcasting and hosting for me. Commentating, sorry, and I've got a good affiliation, a good relationship with him now, and yeah, so we've, as you know, we've joined in the rally, and I just can't get enough of it. I'm very fortunate to have quite good gear here, but I've had a Fanatec shifter for some time and not had the dongle, never been able to use it. I finally got myself around to getting it at Christmas, and then set it up, handbrakes on the side, full VR with a direct drive wheel, and I'm like, oh my god, you just get in it, and it's so immersive. And so I'm now I think I bought ACC at Christmas as well, so I've been driving GT3s, touring cars, rally cars, and I'm on iRacing in the Porsches on a Friday night with Jamie in the PMR Porsche Cup as well. So yeah, I'm doing quite a bit of sim racing at the minute.
That's really good, isn't it? It's really good to hear. And you know, for those that are, I mean, before we go into the leagues, obviously Lee's obviously going to talk about obviously his league on a Monday, giving us a good overview, because I'd say we haven't done him justice so far, and I think it's only fair that Lee gets to give a good explanation of how the races have gone and any key moments or anything like that. But for those that are unaware, like Lee mentioned, we've joined Crest. We've got a NXTGEN team consisting of 6 drivers. 3 of them are in the room tonight, which is myself, Jordan, and Lee. We've also got Jamie, we've got Snav, and we've also got Bruce Lee Harden. And there's actually a really nice split of 3 console drivers and 3.
No, it's 4-2
drivers and 2 PC.
But the funny thing is, half the team, you got four of us are admin, and half the team's made up of a family.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah.
It's
So
quite amusing.
there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot going on there. We've got qualifiers this week. We had qualifiers last week. Some people were more successful than others.
No, to be fair, on the Crest Autosport, I must thank everyone who's in the team, because obviously it's been a bit of a rush the last week, trying to get it all pieced together, and I say a week and a bit to try and get it all pieced together, and finally on its way. So it's been a good effort by everyone on that account.
Yeah,
it was a good effort up until the point we hit the start line.
Well, for you maybe.
Yeah. For those that are wondering, it was going so well for me at Scotland that I, in protest, hit a bush, which turned out to be not a bush. It was actually a brick wall, but it was disguised as a bush, and that ended up giving me 2 punches, and I retired. And then we went to Argentina, and I had a really good set of 3 stages. Went to stage 4, misheard a pace note for a 5th gear right, and it was actually a 5th gear into a 1st gear right-hander, and flew straight off to Narnia. It was great. It was great.
Hey, Jack. Let's be honest, mate. It's the old Keating traditional saying, isn't it? Plotting and preparation to prevent poor performance.
Yeah, you've missed the word out there.
Yes. A reasonable reason.
What I'd say is know your bushes, Jack.
Yeah. Oh god. But no, I think
anyway,
it's going to be good though. I'm looking forward to the next set.
Yeah. Anyway, Lee, obviously round 6 for your league this week. The Scandinavian Raceway.
Yes, its old name was Anderstorp. They changed its name in recent years. It's the one that's shaped like a gun when you look at it from the outside. Lot of adverse cambered corners, so you can. Oh, sorry, should I say banked corners? Sorry, got that completely wrong. They're sort of banked corners, so you can. They're the sort of corners that you can take a wider entry into, and then get on the power quite early to get out of them. So initially, you can slingshot exactly, and there's a couple of them, and it's one of the only tracks as well. You're literally racing down the main straight is racing down the runway. It was built off of the side of an old runway. It was interesting listening to the broadcast last night because Alex knew some history of it. He was saying that it was formed by two guys having a coffee in the coffee shop around the corner who just sat down having a coffee and said, we should build a racetrack. So they basically did. And hence Anderstorp was born many years ago. And yeah, it's at first when I got on the track, and it was funny because a huge amount of people, a huge amount of the drivers from the night said exactly the same to me, and they thought the track was a bit dull. It was a bit, not that good. And then I got on the track with a few people, a few other cars, a few other drivers, and the track just came alive because it's a real good battler's track. These corners allow you to, really test each other on the brakes, get side by side, get round the corners side by side, and lap after lap, you can really duel your way around, and it just makes the racing there so exciting. But go around it on your own, and you get bored after 3 laps. So yeah, it was a really good night last night. Quite a successful one for me. I put a little bit of practice in just before the Christmas break. Then I didn't touch it because I bought ACC and then got into rallying. Did a bit of practice at the weekend just before last night. So this weekend just gone, and I managed to, despite having the 3rd heaviest ballast weight, which was 48 kilograms, I stuck it on pole, and then took a lights to flag victory. Albeit I did have to go around the outside of turn 2 to secure the lead because we were side by side down the runway straight. But yeah, ran away with that one nicely. Albeit the tyres dropped off for the last 3 laps, and it was actually Fraser Rostance who came in behind me and was sort of starting to put the pressure back on, but I had eased off because I was wary of the tyres. I think I had 33% wear left on the front left. So that was race 1. It was a bit boring really because I was out front. I was keeping my eye on Fraser and that was it. But there was a lot of close battles behind. Jeff Perkins came in 3rd. And was doing well, and a good result for him this season. He tends to have been getting a lot of 4th and 5th this season, so it was good to see him on the podium with me, so that was cool. We then went on to race 2. I run a ballast system that starts from 60 kilograms for the person with the heaviest weight. The way I work it is the championship positions determine the weight, so whoever is in first has in the championship for qualification, for qualifying and for race 1. It goes 60 kilograms and in increments of 6 for the top 10. So 10th position has 6, and obviously first position in the championship has 60. So I do this on purpose because in my initial 2 seasons of running the WTCR, I didn't run any ballast at all, and the super quick guys end up dominating. And it's like in any motorsport, you get individuals that are naturally talented and really good, and that can run away with things. So I want, in the interest of encouraging more drivers to get involved and try and keep the field close together, just like the BTCC, I put this ballast in place and also reverse grids. So yeah, for the second race, that meant I was carrying the full 60 kilograms this time. It's very controllable on the race room server which I run. I can set specific grids with specific ballast. It's actually really user friendly, so I import the reports from the previous race results and then just click a button and it reorganises a whole lot, and then fire the server back up, everyone jumps back in, and off we race then with a reverse top 8 for race 2, and then obviously the reapplied ballast weight based on the results from race 1. So race 2 went on, another really good race. I was starting 8th, I ended up finishing 6th. It was only a couple of gains, but carrying that weight, it really told. There's the championship protagonist, and I've got to mention this. He won't appreciate me doing it, albeit I'm not quite sure if he'll actually be listening. But Zirayu, I always apologise for not pronouncing it, but Garunyan, he was leading the championship a few rounds ago. Race Room had an update on the 22nd of December, and the part of the update was to change the launch control option, because up to the update you could let it go at any point and the computer would release you when the lights changed, which is, let's be honest, crap. There's no skill involved in that. You just turn launch control on and you just let it go and then let the lights go and then they go off and it launches you. So they placed in the update, they changed it so it was a manual control. You had to release at the right time, and if you do it too early, you got a drive through. If you did it way too early, you got a DQ. So I put a very clear message out in the group chat to all drivers saying, make sure you remember manual control for launch control. So what happens in race 1 on the grid? Gurian's south of the grid. He's qualified 3rd or 4th. The lights come on, as in the first red light of 5, and Gurian shoots off. He then proceeds to pull over to the side of the track and quit the race, because obviously he went so early, he got DQ'd, the poor sod. So he actually had a DNF in race 1, which I was gutted about, because him and Ben Walker and William and Fraser, we're all like up the top of the table here and battling nice and closely. So it was a bit annoying to see it, but obviously slightly funny at the same time.
I was going to say that because there's about what's that, 2, 4? There's about 6 of you covered by just over 100 points, so it's still very wide open considering the amount of points you can score on an evening.
Yeah, that's the thing. I use obviously, because I do listen to your casts. You've mentioned before that I have a different scoring system because of the numbers involved, or the higher numbers involved in what PC games will allow you to have in your rooms, albeit that is now changing with the more modern games, to be honest. But I changed the scoring so it would go down to the top 20. So I had to increase the amount of the top to then obviously bring it down to scoring like your last few points in 20th place. So it is one of the only series in Next Gen that's got probably a different scoring, a different set of scoring numbers than the rest of them. Because we, up to recently, we've always kept them uniform, haven't we, Jack? So all the leagues scored the same, 21, 18, 15,
well,
blah, blah. So
the only other different one's F1 actually nowadays.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think you got to change that, but I don't think there's so much of a necessity now to have that uniform type scoring system. Now we've spread our wings into these, more games and obviously different platforms as well. So yes, as you were saying, Jordan, it's the halfway point. The leader had 333 points, and I think there was about a 33 point spread to the top 4 down to where William was. Obviously this last round's just happened. Unfortunately Will had a DC in race 1, so it's, while he's still 4th, he's sort of dropped back in the points a bit now. Ben's taken the lead. He had a good solid set of results, a 5th, a 2nd and a 4th, and currently leads on 404. I've now moved up a position because obviously Mr. Gurian unfortunately had his DNF. He had a 4th and a 10th position. My good run was my pole position point. I had fastest lap in race 1 as well. Won race 1, 6th in race 2, and got a good 3rd from, I think I started 10th, but I only had 30 kilograms, so I had a little bit less weight than I'd had in the previous 2 races. So it was a good points haul for me, and it's closed up the gap at the top. I'm just having a look now, 18 points now off of Ben, where I was 25 before, so closed the gap a little bit. Gurian's not too far behind on 357 with Will at 342, but even despite that gap of 60 odd points from Will, the fact that we've scored over 300 points in one half of the season, there is still a heck of a lot to play for.
Well, in theory, if you were to win every race, you could score over 100 points on the night, so...
Exactly. Unlikely, albeit it's been close. I think Ben and Gurian have both, Soraya have both been pretty close to that. I tend to struggle. What I find with the touring car with the heavy weight, if you're up front and you can stay clean and not push the tyres too hard at the beginning and keep on the optimum without mistakes, you can stay there. But if you're in the battle pack, it's extremely difficult carrying all the weight to actually work your way through the pack. You've got to be really on it, and I don't seem to. A couple of the guys are reasonably good, pretty good at it, but yeah, that's one of the areas that I struggle in. I've always had 1 6th or a 7th or an 8th, along with either 1 or sometimes 2 podiums. So it's a really good competitive championship, and ultimately the main thing I wanted to produce for everyone that's in it is fun, entertaining driving without people running away with it, where other people have got chance. I mean, we've had such a spread of podium finishes, as you guys have obviously said and reported back. It's actually doing it. The ballast and the reverse grids are doing its job really, really well. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's going. Full season in now of these of the touring cars.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the balance is definitely good, because I think you've had, out of the 18 different races, you've had 11 different winners just this season alone.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously I haven't mentioned it, you guys probably have, but race 3, you still have the ballast applied to the top 10 finishers from race 2, but it's a reverse grid of the top 15. And I've purposely done that, race 1 top 8, race 2 top 15. It gives the guys at the back a real opportunity, and we've had some very excited drivers that have not really got near the front in past seasons, but with this format it's allowed them to get some cracking results and really surpass their own expectations and help them develop their driving as well, but through confidence as well as, you know, just being put in that position. And we've had some new names join this season that have come from other leagues, and they've really been mixing it up as well. Arnaldo and Arnaud. There's a lot of guys that also race what was with Exiled, now with well, to be honest, everyone races with everyone. There's no, you know, you have maybe your favourite group, or if you're a staff member, you know, you have an allegiance, of course, but let's be honest, we all go and race where your friends are, and if your friends are in a different group, you go and race with them. If you know, there's no, if you've got any groups with hardened rules that you can't race with anyone else, those groups don't tend to exist for very long, because that's too dictatorial. So it's nice. The guys I race with, I've raced with in Exiled, I've raced with in Crest, I race with here at NXTGEN. You know, it's you go into other groups, sometimes you come across them as well. I think Actual Vision, I know Fraser does a few of his leagues, and I think it works really well. You know, it's a lot of characters.
Has there been any moments this, I mean, or any races or any standout performers this season, Lee, where you thought, I'm really chuffed that they got this result, or anything where you thought, are they going to get a look? Do they deserve a win? Someone like that? Any drivers you can think of?
Well, the couple of things I haven't mentioned is Ben Walker and Zariah Gurian are esports drivers. So I've got this personal grin on my face most weeks anyway. The fact that I'm just sharing tarmac with people that are actually, you know, have been recruited for professional teams. You know, as a lot of people know, when we ran the PMR Championship in the first lockdown, and to be sharing tarmac with Tom Onslow Cole and Max Coates and the like, you know, was just unbelievable. So, what, you know, seeing these guys come and join our leagues and seeing how they race, I mean, I can't believe Ben Walker he's such a nice bloke. I had some really good conversations with him, but he's such a clean driver. It's really nice to race in and around with him. Zariah's a really friendly chap. He's from the Ukraine. Asks lots of questions about things over here. He really likes to get involved. And then some of the guys lower down the field. I mean, Albin, I'm just trying to think what his surname was.
Kilgren?
Just moving over now. Albin Kilgren, he got his first win last night in race 3. Albeit, I believe that might be a steward's report in, so these tables are provisional, and obviously the stewards will need to take a look at what's been put in from the submitter. But he got his first win last night. I was really pleased for him. Again, he's been showing improvement week after week, and doing really well. Jorgen Madsby Pedersen, really nice guy, races with Exiled and Crest. And just seeing these sort of guys when they first joined, right at the back of the grid, and then getting themselves into mid-pack and really enjoying themselves. So Chris Needham and Alex Ward, I mean, I had a brilliant battle with Alex in race 3. Just managed to get him after about 5 laps of trying so hard. He ended up coming in 5th, which is his best result in race 3. So there's a lot of guys in here. Someone else I'll mention as well, Matthew Addy. When he first came, I introduced him to Race Room, help him out. Always offer to help any drivers out when they want. Turn some laps with him when they want to learn a new track. I just say let me know when you're on, or agree a time to get on, and turn a few laps together and just help people try and learn the tracks quicker and whatever else. Matthew's done that a few times with me, and he's really started to get a few good results. He's had a couple of podiums now in the last few rounds. Whereas when he first started, he was just sat at the back, just learning how to learning the game and learning the car sort of thing. So everyone that's in here is been showing improvement, and enjoying themselves, which is the key thing. So makes me happy if everyone else is having a good time as well. Yeah,
it sounds really good, Lee, and it does look really, really like a lot of fun to get involved with. And I think it's like you say, it's your 4th season. It's an expanding league. I mean, the first season is always the most difficult, and then following that up with a second season to be honest with you, can sometimes even be more tricky. So to get to your 4th and have a 3-4 pages worth of championship results, 3 of them what I can see at the minute, that's really positive, especially after 4 seasons. I think it's going to be more of a case of, is there any planned expansions for Race Room coming up soon, or anything that might add a little bit more drama into what's already a fun-packed series?
I don't know if you can get any more drama, to be honest with you, apart from just adding more characters. I mean, I use Race Room. I really like Race Room. It's one of the only official touring car games. Obviously, being the WTCR, there's a lot of other cars and series and championships on there. I also really like iRacing. Didn't so much like the touring car on iRacing, the Audi, which we drove in the PMR series, but I'm absolutely loving the 911 Cup Porsche at the moment. And obviously then there's the other, you've got ACC, you've got Project Cars 2, albeit you've got Automobilista 2. There's so many games out there. I haven't got Automobilista 2, and I won't be getting any more of the Project Cars games. Fortunately, the false promises have now put me completely off, and there's so many other games out there, and it doesn't really worry me. My mind will be changed when everyone raves about the next one if it's good enough, but that's a topic of debate for another time. But how I see this going, 4th season in, I was slightly concerned after season 2 that, one, the numbers hadn't increased how I'd wanted them to, and I'd won both championships, and I was the host. So from outside, it might not have looked too great. I felt great because obviously I won them, but they weren't easy wins either. But then obviously season 3, the numbers improved quite drastically. I think that was because I built that relationship with Alex. And I started racing in his WTCR league on a Wednesday night. It's the XTCR, his league was then, and he had 30 plus drivers a week, and I joined in with that, and it was, for the number of drivers, that was phenomenal. And I've got to give thanks to Alex, because the format in which I run this league now, a lot of help, ideas, and process I've got from Alex, and how he was running his, because it was so successful how he was doing it. It was very popular. And I thought, well, how I was running it wasn't as good as how he was, and I had a chat with him, and he was quite happy for me to use, his ideas and ways, or how he was doing it, and the numbers increased. And then that particular season, which obviously was last season, was where it went right down to the wire with me and Jamie, and Mr. Dory beat me by a single sole point in the championship, and to end the championship on the last race by 1 point. I couldn't really ask for any better. It was brilliant. Apart from actually winning, that is on my point. But somebody else won the championship, which was great. And the numbers improved. And then again, I've moved to this season, and we've been hitting 20 plus. Unfortunately, this week, I think being just after Christmas and everything else, I had a couple drop out, and it was a little bit less. It was 15, 16 this week. But I've got 28 registered. I've had 26. As the most this, but it's always normally averaging 20 plus. So yeah, for me, I'll never stop driving touring cars. They're my passion, and I think there's a lot of people out there like me that just love to drive them. And until another amazing touring car game comes along, I think we'll remain in this position, and there might be tweaks to format, but it will continue on, I would have thought.
I think, to be honest with you, you've outdone yourself there, Lee.
I'd have thought everyone's probably bored of hearing my voice now.
We are gonna move it along, aren't we, Jordan? We're gonna
Yes.
talk just a little bit about some of the other leagues that have gone on over the last 24 hours, or 26 technically. Speaking, so we're going to have a look at those. We're going to look on Monday because obviously Lee's wonderful league starts on a Monday, but we've also got other leagues running, don't we, Jordan?
We do, yeah. So I think we'll kick off with the Coates versus Newsham Mini Cooper Cup, which you were sad not to be commentating on this week.
Yeah, I was unfortunately not able to do so. I just got back to work, and then I've now been told today that I'm not going back to work, so... not literally, working from home, yeah.
Obviously, they went to Dragon Trail Seaside for a 1 hour endurance for round 5, because obviously a week behind everything else. And I think you've seen bits of the stream, Jack.
Yeah,
it wasn't the most thrilling race, but there was still some good battles on circuit.
I think it was tense at times. I think would be the answer. It wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen it in the mini league this season. That it is actually quite a thrilling league to watch in terms of the short format, and we've got another 1 hour, 60-minute race later on at the finale. But I think we're going to tweak something, aren't we, for the finale? We're not going to say just
more than
one.
likely.
We're going to change just yet to keep the drivers on the toes. But we're going to have a few little tweaks just to spice it up a little bit.
But the biggest story for yesterday was Traumatic Dave. He took pole position. So he took 2 bonus points with him. Because obviously the 1 hour endurance is double points.
Yeah.
So he took 2 bonus points for pole position, and it was a big shame really, because it was 3 Newsham drivers. The Newsham drivers were starting to put a bit of fight back towards the Coates team. They took a top 3 lockout, and I think Philo had a little bit of a collision with Traumatic Dave on about lap 2 or 3, which meant they kind of dropped off and left Bruce Lee Harding with 3 coach drivers in Les, Fourfish and D Whitehouse. I think had that not happened, we'd have probably had a 6-car train, which has been quite good. But to be fair, Les and Fourfish went at it for 60 minutes, and they did not stop. Constantly, I kind of want to rewatch the stream to find out how many times the lead changed that race in 60 minutes. But yeah, it was almost every lap at least one lead change every time. And if I remember correctly, because I haven't actually wrote anything down because I'm good like that, I think Fourfish just about nicked it, right? One of them nicked it. I'll have a quick look, but yeah, it was a really, really close battle between the pair of them all race. I
think we know with Fourfish and Les, and you know, these 2 drivers, they've been with NXTGEN for quite some time now. They're still relative newbies compared to us guys, because we're old. But
speak for yourself.
Looking at those 2, sure. But you know, those 2 are absolutely wonderful drivers, good mates. You know, they're both right on the level of aggression, which is what you need. Les has come on quite a lot in terms of leaps and bounds, in terms of how he puts his moves on circuit. I think he's got just the right level of aggression to just make drivers sit up and notice. But there's no collisions. He's very, very clean driver. Fourfish, we know, is a great driver, and I think, you know, it's quite funny how they've both sort of inversed and eventually become a similar sort of driver. Is that Fourfish actually started off as sort of quite, I wouldn't call him, he wouldn't jump out of your way, he'd have a little battle with you, but it wouldn't be as intense as Les, and they've both sort of converged now and are sort of at the same level, and they're both very, very fast. And like we've said all season, Jordan, the championship is going to be really close between those 2.
Yeah, I mean, Fourfish got the win by 34 thousandths of a second. That's how close it was. And for anyone that can't quite work that out quickly, it's 0.034 of a second, which is mega tight. Bruce Lee Harding took 3rd. It was a lonely 3rd in the end for him because he dropped off the back of the top 2. Philo got up to 4th, running back 5th. Traumatic Dave took 6th. D Whitehouse played a crafty team game. He dropped back to... He basically had a bit of an issue. I think Philo lagged going through the chicane of death. which is unfortunate. Nothing. No driver. No one could do anything about it. Obviously with a bit of lag, it's just one of those unfortunate things. But it drops D Whitehouse to about 7th, and he actually ended up dropping behind Joey Dunlop on purpose, to actually push Joey Dunlop out of Snav's harm effectively, because Snav was only 1.5 behind him, and D Whitehouse being almost like a team, being the team member of Coates, same as Joey Dunlop, actually went back behind him and pushed him clear to the end of the race. But then they swapped on the final corner pretty much. So it was, I think, a long-winded race, but at the front considerably tight.
Yeah, I think that's the key point, isn't it, with these races and formats, is that we have to try these things. If it doesn't work, you look back at it, you reflect, you go, okay, what can we do differently? And that's the whole point, league racing, especially with a new league, because the minis are, of course, I wouldn't say new for this season,
returning.
But it's a sort of, it's a refresh of the idea that we once had a few seasons back. It's just got to keep plugging away and making sure everything's all settled and ready to go. And I think the rest of the season will play out to be quite well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got five more weeks of mini cup action, so it's going to be a belter. All to play for, so you can stop Fullfish and Les running away with it in terms of their own personal battle for the championship. But moving a bit further on with that, we do have another league on a Monday, do we not, Jordan? We do have the ACC Ginetta GT4s. There's not been an update quite yet in terms of the points.
Okay, so what I will say is congratulations to whoever won that one.
Yeah.
You've clearly driven very well.
What I do know though is that the cars weren't the easiest to drive. They were at Hungaroring, and apparently the back end was very much sketchy in these cars. So, and I also know web user Johnny was in a bit of pain with his wrists during the race, but he managed to complete the race fair, which is a cracking effort to him. He fought through it all. But yeah, I do know it was a tricky race, but obviously we'll get more of an update next week on that one, because I think Kevin was racing tonight, so obviously hasn't had a chance to do an update.
So that was Monday, and then we come on to the crux of the matter. Mikey's been waiting patiently for the last 40 odd minutes to try and jump in if he's still there. We hope he's still there.
I'm still here. I've just been a patient gentleman and waiting for my moment to strike. That's all. Just.
So the F1 League, F1 2020 League, round 6. We went to Singapore, which threw up a bit of a spicy practice because it was completely wet. For practice, but it dried through the session, which was quite interesting to get a little bit of a balance. Obviously drivers setting up for a dry setup because they knew that the race was going to be dry. Qualifying went well for one of the McLarens, maybe not so much the other one.
It went pretty well for both Alphas, but for some reason I had a penalty, so I was at the back of the grid.
Yeah.
So there's that. Right.
So in terms of where we were qualified for the three of us, I was on pole. I did a 1:37. Next up was Carl on a 1:39. I don't understand the gap between the two of us. It must be down to the setup, surely, because I know how quick Carl is as a driver. Jordan, where did you qualify?
13th.
Out of?
13.
Jordan, I'm not one to beat round the bush, mate, but there was AIs in that lobby.
Yeah, there was a bit of an issue. I kind of missed my braking point on one of the corners and completely broke the front wing.
What corner? How many corners?
Just weirdly enough, it was just the one, and it was like coming up towards sector 3, and all I'd done, I hit the brakes a bit too late, and the car just understood straight in the barrier, and literally I had no front left wing.
Fair enough. I think what makes me laugh the most really is mine and my fellow Simpleton teammate. As a laugh, because we were sliding off and thought, do you reckon we just try mediums? It'll be funny. It won't work out. We'll just go drifting. You know what I mean? Let's just have a bit of a laugh before we go serious. And then obviously a minute or two late, like 1-2 laps later, it goes dry. And then all of a sudden it's, line degrees me. And then my name went, was quite high up. I was like, oh, I was buzzing. And then Jack just comes and, just stabs me in the heart. Yeah.
It was funny that because we were discussing, because Jordan streams the races from his perspective, and I'm on the live comms with him, and I was saying that when Matty had gone in, I thought, you know what, it's just coming up to the time for dries. So Jordan went out a lap after he did, and then I came into the pits the next lap, and I think Jordan just would have, if that had been a race situation, Jordan would have timed it perfectly to go onto those softs. He got the right lap. Obviously, that was practice. So qualifying happened. Mikey had a penalty for whatever reason. The race starts. I thought the red light had gone out. Didn't. Jumped the start. Not the best.
And you didn't get a penalty.
I had a drive-through.
Oh yeah, you drive-through.
Yeah, I had a drive-through. So Matty led the way. I knew I had the pace on Matty in terms of about a second from soft to medium, but it would have been, unfortunately, it was. I'll explain for everyone who's listening. Matty disconnected whilst he was in the lead. I was gutted because I was really looking forward to a potential battle further down the line. I think he'd have won. But I think I'd have caught up to him. I don't know if I'd have got past it. It'd have been very difficult, especially around there. So I had to serve my drive-through on lap 3. I managed to get a good gap, and I rejoined in 4th place. Got past 2 racing points, which was, that was an event. And then I had to pit again. I had to pit again on lap 5 for the medium tyre, which dropped me back quite far back behind the Renault of Carl and the Williams of, I can't remember who the Williams of, X-Mad Ginge, and can't be 2 Gingers in this, so one's on console, one's on PC now.
There'll only ever be 1 Ginge, Bill.
Yeah.
We know this.
You can't get enough Gingers.
I know. But I managed to overtake them within the space of 5 corners, which I've actually sent through to the lads to have a watch of. I was quite proud of myself. I was very happy, and I managed to time the pit stop went well. Got through the traffic, and obviously the 3 drivers ahead of me, Jordan, Mikey, and Matty's AI, they had to pit again. So I was clear for another romp home to another win. But for you guys, it was much more exciting.
Oh, don't go, George. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You carry on, mate.
Well, obviously, me trying to be tactical, knowing Matty was now an AI due to a connection issue, but no fault of Matty's. Obviously, I've been experiencing it myself, so obviously we know we don't know what it is, but anyway, needless to say, I'm looking at the thing, seeing Jack's gone in for his mediums, and I see, 16 seconds, I'm going to watch that. So far around, I look 14 seconds at I'm going to go in first possible moment, because at least I know I might have a chance to at least keep a bit of pressure to try and, I know it sounds silly, but for me to try and at least get the top step, because I've never been able to do that. I think the closest I've come is 4th, so it's just got on the podium I'm buzzing with, to be fair, but, I wanted to push all the way. Got in the pits. I don't know what's happened because I've got no replay or anything. I thought, well, from my perspective, I personally thought I was green, full, under the limit, everything. But apparently the game believes I didn't. I don't know.
I think you went past the first pit lane. I think that's what it was.
There's only 1 pit lane, mate.
No, the first pit lane limiter. Sorry, I mean, there's 2 pit entry boards.
I know. I'm joking, mate.
I know.
So obviously, I've gone onto the softs because our strategy was to go mediums because we felt more comfortable, and it's actually, to be fair, faster on the medium. I thought I was at one point. And then just hitting hope, really, to be honest. Just hope for the best. But obviously, as I've come out, I've had a bit of a scuffle, to be fair. And we'll leave that to whatever. With the racing points, finally got past them. Then Jord got stuck behind him. And yeah. I had a 5-second penalty, but I think it was 2-3 seconds, to be fair, Jord. I was ahead.
Yeah, there's a good reason for that as well, which Jack knows I'm annoyed with.
Is it something I've done? Because if it is, I'm going to feel
No.
really bad here.
No.
Yeah. Hey,
It's so basically what happened was also we'd done the reset because obviously loads of people got 5-place grid penalties for some reason.
I think mine was I don't know. I think mine might have actually been a collision, like in practice. Because remember, I was going round. I think it was at the end of the first sector. You cut left, then right, don't you? Obviously, I've gone right. Car slid. I've hit the wall.
Yeah, that's what you got it for. I saw that.
But I've not been like obviously told off the crash into the barrier. I've come back, went to go forward. Obviously, imagine, to be fair, the way I was on the corner, you couldn't have reacted fast enough. He did the best he could with what he had. So to be fair, yeah, I'd say I'm pretty much to blame on that one. To be fair, put my hands up. We shouldn't have tried to put too much power down into the corner. He's just gone in, it hit me. I've rightly so been, 5-place grid penalty, which fair enough. It is my fault. I put my hands up to that. But obviously, gladly he wasn't affected in that in any shape or form. Yeah, carry on, George. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So obviously I know Alex, who hosts a lot. We obviously done a reset effectively, so we all came back out to go back in, and it didn't keep the setup. And I was trying to find the weather for the race in qualifying, and I stupidly pressed the start go to track button. So it didn't, and I could tell it didn't save my setup because my front wing was on 5. I'm like, that's not good. So the thing was just understeering like a boat everywhere. And when I came in for my pit stop, I changed the front wing to 9, back to where it should be, but the rear wing was still on like 6. Which meant that when I was behind you, I just had no grip on the front end, so I couldn't keep up with you.
Like going into the corners, you would literally be behind, obviously on my gearbox. But obviously, as I'm coming out that corner, I go, right, where's Jord? Look behind me, and then you're still going round that corner.
Yeah,
like,
I
really,
literally had no grip, and it was really annoying because I reckon I was quicker than you with the setup that I nicked from Jack. I think I was quicker, but obviously.
To be fair, I thought my setup was pretty fast. I felt a lot more comfortable, faster on the mediums. Obviously. I thought I was quite fast in general. I'm quite proud of my performance, to be honest. I think I did pretty well.
Considering I hate Singapore, I was quite happy with where I finished. I was a bit annoyed that I didn't finish ahead of you, but I know it's setup related rather than actually
it was a good
drove.
fight, though. To be fair, Jordan, it was a good fight. I've noticed when you end up having like a little scuffle, like to see who can get like at least the best out of it. Like, it usually is quite a good battle between us.
It's normally really tight. Tight.
It was quite fun.
But it's quite good for the teams because you got Jack fighting with Matty when Matty's not got a connection issue, and then you got me and you trying to fight out. So if Jack finishes ahead of Matty but you finish ahead of me, it kind of balances out. But if both of the team finish ahead of the other one, it helps massively.
Yeah. Obviously, I lost out obviously because of that penalty, which I'm not really best pleased about. But hey ho, it's racing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be interesting next week as well. What I will say before I talk about next week, the soft tyres went to mush after about 3 laps. I was speaking to Jordan whilst we were going, and it was woeful. And that was I managed to pull a gap because I had this penalty on lap 2. I'd got about 3.5-4 seconds ahead of Matty, and then I got to lap 3 and I pulled a second, and I just thought I can't go any quicker than this. This is going to be the gap. It was terrible. And I saw you'd gone in quite early, Mikey. Me and Jordan were talking about it, and we were just like, it's a bit early, isn't it? You were saved by the safety car, I think, at the end.
Yeah, honestly, because you were 33, 34 seconds.
Yeah.
They'll pull you back in sector 1 and then sector 2, you're like, yeah, see you later. Like, you build that back up. But sector 3, we were literally doing the same time going around sector 3. And with literally that come up, and I thought, you're in the pit, and it didn't click that you can go in and change the tyre. I didn't think of that, did I? So I've gone, go ahead, I can catch him, okay. Trying to be dead new cocky and stuff like, yeah, I'll sit in this gearbox, Did I forget who it was I was trying to race on brand new fresh softs when I've got 4 lap old softs? You know, you might as well literally give me part 1s where you've got new Pirellis. You know what I mean?
It was quite, because I would say to Jordan, like, it's just like Mikey's too close to my rear bumper here, he's going to break his front wing. It was genuine, because I was sort of like, on one hand I was sort of annoyed because I was sitting there thinking, why is it bloody close? But then on the other hand I was like, he's going to break his front wing, back off. I don't want you to break your front wing.
How does it feel that you've not actually broke your front wing this week in this week's event?
Well, I didn't break it in a race. I broke it in.
That's what I'm saying. You usually break it in the race. Like the past 2 or 3 races, you broke it.
I didn't break it in Zandvoort.
No, I know, but you literally just did one. Like, literally
Yeah.
everyone else was racing. You effectively just like, yeah, see, like, oh, let's have fun.
Wet weather. It's me.
All right, Senna, calm down.
I'm not that good. But next week we're going to Brazil. Speaking of Senna,
I love Brazil.
It should be a really good
I
race.
hate Brazil.
The other important thing to talk about, actually, just briefly, is that we are seeing quite a bit more interest in F1 League this season. I had a couple of other drivers message me yesterday to say whether it be possible to join in the next few weeks. We had double figures tonight, which is a first for this season. We've got 12 registered. We had 10 tonight, but we should have 12. 2 couldn't make it this week because it's first week back, like Lee was mentioning before, which is probably a few issues. So it looks like we could, have a big grid for Brazil. Could have 15 if all goes well. I'm saying we could. We'll probably end up having 12, but that's still a really good figure around Brazil, which is a really good track to race on. Opportunities for overtakes are plenty.
Not only that, different strategies work around there, because last season I done an overcut on Carl. I overcut Carl on pit stops. So it's...
Carl will be racing next week, don't worry.
Have you spoken to him?
Yeah, he's alright now.
I did feel bad for Carl, to be fair,
I
because the situation he was in, you could tell he was getting frustrated, but as long as he's still taking part, that's all.
But we've got to remember, this is Carl, the man who won last season's championship by, some margin. I think he won 4 races out of the 5 we did, and he's not had a race win this season. I think he came second in Canada, and that's it. That was round 1.
And
that's
Britain.
The best result. And Britain, the first 2 races, he's not had a race win. This is
he's not had a podium since he's had 3 zeros in the 5th place.
And a 5th, yeah. He's had rotten luck, and I can really see why he's absolutely free. He would have started second. He probably, to be honest with you, had it not from his penalty, which wasn't his fault that he got, because him and Alex had spun in the lap, and Carl hit him coming round the corner. There was nowhere for him to go. I saw it as well, and I just thought, had it not been for that, that could have been a race win for him tonight, had it circumstances not happened. But that's racing, and just got to plug on, and hopefully the new championship standings will give him a bit of inspiration to boot his way back up, because he certainly deserves a race win. I'd like to see him get one. Monaco, he'll probably... He was amazing last season, so if he doesn't win Brazil, he'll probably win Monaco.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't, to be fair.
Yeah. He's that good. I
won't lie, I'll be surprised if you're not in the podium. Like, if you're not in the podium, I will donate, I'm not even joking, I will donate £10 to a chosen charity. Not that I don't, but you know, you just I
Finishes
that calm.
fourth on purpose at the final round.
Yeah. Oh, my engine cut out. Oh, I ran out of fuel. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's that's really our podcast for this week. Obviously, don't forget that this is the first week back. There's still a lot of events going on tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday across the board of Assetto Corsa, Gran Turismo Sport. Don't forget as well, we've got iRacing, we've got R Factor 2. So there's a lot going on that you can all get involved in. And especially now with the recent announcements, I say yesterday's announcement, I'm not going to mention what it is because we all know what it is and it's been banged on about enough. Probably going to see a few more people turn into consoles, turn into PC to say something to do, let's crack on. So it's good for the leagues, good for you to get involved, meet new people, and I'm excited. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
I think there's one thing left to do this week, chaps.
There is one last thing.
And it's time to tally up those answers for the quiz last week.
Yep.
So, Mike, your section was first, so do you want to go through the answers for your section?
Yes. The answers. Well,
And I'm going to write them down and then quickly tally up everyone's scores so we can announce at the end.
My thing seems to have disappeared. Hold on, sorry, chaps. 2 seconds. Where are we again? Right, okay, there we go.
You got it.
Okay, the first question. Obviously, the question I'll be questioning, then I'll leave the answer, etc. First question was, who won the first British Touring Car Championship in 1958? The answer to that question was Jack Sears. The second one was, what city circuit was used in the British touring cars in the 1980s? The answer to this was Birmingham, which was Birmingham.
Yeah, Super Prix.
And where is the only place Tiff Nadal has what was the only place that Tiff Nadal won at during his whole career within British touring cars? As I know, actually, what annoyed me the most is when I researched this on, I tested the lads. Jack, being Jack and an encyclopedia of motorsporting knowledge, within a minute, just said, yeah, that made me feel really bad about myself. Bear in mind, I just spent half an hour searching this. But the answer was Donington Park in 1989. Obviously, the youngest person to become the British Touring Car Champion was Ash Sutton. Who led the most laps in the British Touring Cars this year? That was also Ash Sutton. Who was the last driver to win in the championship in a front-wheel drive car? Which was Gordon Shedden.
In the Honda as well, wasn't it, for the bonus point?
I believe it was, yes. Obviously, who finished last in the 2020 British Touring Car Championship? The correct answer for that was Jade Edwards. Obviously, how many drivers took part in the season? It was 35. And obviously, when did Jason Plato make his debut in the touring cars? Which was 1997. And for the next
Donington Park?
It was, sir.
For the bonus point?
And obviously, my question regarding next gen. Who had won the most race of winners titles? And the answer to that was Boy Raxa 14. And then it went on to Jack's little segment in regards to Formula 1. Take it away.
Yeah, it was. So, looking at it then, going on to the next set of questions, question 11, or if you want to call it question 1 of my section that we had. Who finished last in the 2020 Drivers' F1 Championship? The answer was Pietro Fittipaldi. He was the driver stood in for Grosjean in the last 2 rounds of the season and did a pretty good job, to be fair to him. So it's Pietro Fittipaldi was the answer to question number 1 on my section, or 11 overall. Question number 2. Which drivers made their Formula 1 debuts at the Italian Grand Prix in 2001? The answers, 1 point for each, Alex Young and Thomas Enge. They were the 2 drivers. Obviously, Young jumped into the Minardi, and Thomas Enge, or Enge, depending on where you're from in terms of how you pronounce his name, he drove in the Prost in that race. Question number 3. Giancarlo Baghetti, or as Jordan calls him, Mr. Spaghetti, won the 1961 French Grand Prix, but who did he overtake on the final corner to win the race? The answer was Dan Gurney. Dan Gurney, Ford Le Mans racing legend, Formula 1 legend in his own right, and he was also driving a Porsche Formula 1 racing car in 1961 too, so a little bit of trivia for you on that one. Question 4. What is the name of Williams F1 team's new owners? The answer was obviously, if I pronounced this correctly, Doralton Capital.
Doralton, isn't it?
I think it's Doralton, isn't it?
Doralton.
Yeah, Doralton, because it's Dorilton. Number 5. In 1992, Ferrari debuted an F92A, a car that scored only 2 podiums. But what drivers drove the car during that season in official Grand Prix? The answers, 1 point for each. John Alesi drove in all 16 races that season. Ivan Capelli drove 13 races that season and infamously binned it at Monaco. And then the last 3 races were driven by Nicola Larini. So that is the first 5. Question number 6. How many Grand Prix had Sergio Perez competed in before winning his first race at the Sakhir Grand Prix? We were taking the races he's took part in, not those that he'd officially entered but didn't race at the end. So you're looking at the 2 races he missed this year because of COVID, and the 2011 Monaco Grand Prix where he crashed going into the Nouvelle Chicane. So those 3 are taken out, and the answer is 190 before he won the Sakhir Grand Prix, which was a great race. Question number 7. Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris have now both scored podiums for McLaren, but before them, who was the last driver to do so? The answer, Jenson Button at the 2014 Australian Grand Prix. It would have been Magnussen, but technically speaking, he's not last because he finished ahead of Jenson. So, unfortunately on that one, you're going to miss out. Question number 8. How many Grand Prix did Colony F1 fail to qualify in? This is a record. The answer is 68. They were pretty underfunded, to say little of it. Question number 9. Who won BRM's final Grand Prix victory? I know Jordan was trying to have a guess at this. The answer was Jean-Pierre Beltoise in the 1972 Monaco Grand Prix. He started 4th, he shot off into the lead and never got overtaken from there on in. He led the whole race, beating off brilliant wet weather drivers such as Jackie Hicks. Is no mean feat. It was the only Grand Prix he ever won. What a victory to get it at, what a place to do it. Our last question, number 10 in my section, or question 20 overall. Who won the most individual races across the 15 seasons worth of Race Winners events? The answer, technically speaking, if you know your history, it was me.
obviously put a question to get yourself credit there.
I can't talk about other things, so I'm allowed that.
Do you want a medal?
I got a medal. Got a trophy as well.
I've selected a few words for you right now, but I know I can't say them, so I will save them for later.
Alright, just mine to go. And then you guys can chat a little bit. Well, I'll take 5 minutes to tally everyone's answers up.
Sorry.
The rallying side of the questions. So the first one was, what was the last two-wheel drive rally car to win the WRC Constructors? That was the Lancia 037. Fantastic battle all year with
Audi
in 1986. Three. Six is the last one, wasn't it? You can.
If I remember correctly, they actually won it at San Remo.
Yeah, in Italy.
Yeah, in Italy, yeah.
Yeah. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4. They had obviously the first 4 positions.
But do you want to know a really funny fact? Because I was rewatching something a few weeks back.
I might know this fact. Is it
About
regards to
Monte Carlo?
Yeah. What they did is obviously because it was icy, so they sent the mechanics to the shop and they bought as much salt as they could possibly get, and went along the route.
But they actually also went to the local authorities as well. They went to the police and said, look, it's really icy, it's dangerous for spectators. And the police, actually, the authorities themselves went and done all the salting for them. So by the time... That. So by the time they started the rally, it was just wet tarmac, it was fine.
Could you imagine that though? This German engineer has literally thought of this mind-breaking system. Obviously in today's standards, pretty basic. Obviously back then, top of the range, nothing can beat it. And a bunch of Italians have just turned around for a bit, got the police to go over and throw a bit of salt on for you. Literally, a bit of you would just literally want to cry inside that you spent all this time.
But then they went to Sweden, and there was no way the 037 was going to beat the Quattro, so Lancia just didn't turn up for Sweden.
I thought it was Finland.
No, it was they might have done it Finland, but I'm pretty certain Sweden didn't turn up either.
I remember seeing a thing of Walter Walls like, if I wanted to fly, I would have become a fighter jet pilot.
That wasn't No. Sweden, Lancia in general didn't go. Finland, it was only Walter Roll.
Yeah, you refused. It was like I'd said to them, not being funny, if I wanted to be a pilot,
yeah, I don't fly the plane.
Yeah. I don't like losing grip of all 4 ties, so yeah, it doesn't appeal to me.
The second question was Chris Meek set the fastest rally average speed at Finland in what year? That was 2016 in his Citroen DS3. He set an average of 78.68 miles per hour through the Finnish forests over the course of 3 days, which is very impressive. But I still think not quite as impressive as the video I sent you, Jack, of Colin McRae at St. Guido. That was stupidly impressive. Question 3 was, how many event wins did Sebastian Loeb, or does Sebastian Loeb have in the WRC? The answer is 79. He's got 79 wins to his name, and at the moment he can still win more because he's still contracted with Hyundai. So
no, he's not now.
Is he not now? Has he run out?
He's not now. Yeah.
They might rehire him again, but as a specialist, you never know. Question.
They've got Danny Sordo for that now.
Yeah. Question 4. Colin McRae is the youngest WRC champion. Who is the oldest champion? Now, you couldn't get this, Jack, and I'm quite happy with it. But
I know who it is now.
You know who it is now. I don't know if Lee still, whether he wants to take a crack. You've probably gone off onto his PC, but
It's probably gone.
He's not here. It is Hannu Mikkola at 41 years and 183 days. Very that's a good effort at that sort of age, winning the World Rally Championship.
Yeah, Sorry, I wouldn't have got that. I am here, my meatball was stuck. Yeah, there's no way I was actually going to get that at all. So anyway, carry on. Thanks.
Fair enough. If you do want to try and answer, Luke, feel free. It's interesting knowledge.
I knew a fair few at the beginning, but when you come to rallying, unfortunately, I don't really know much about that.
Question 5 was, in what year was Chris Meek crowned IRC champion? Now, he only done 2 years in the IRC, which is 2009 and 2010. And 2009, he was crowned the IRC champion. It used to be a big championship, but he was... and it's kind of turned into the European Rally Championship, which is almost a NAF sort of championship nowadays. I mean, Chris Ingram... won the ERC last year, and he still hasn't got funding. He's still searching for funding to get into the WRC2 category for this year. Question 6: which rally car did Colin McRae invent? Now, Lee, surely you got to know this playing dirt games.
Yeah, I should know it. You're right. I'll leave it at that.
Love the sense of confidence, like everyone's like the anticipation.
Yeah.
He's gonna get it.
He's surely.
Yeah. Did you guys not hear me just now when I said I don't know anything about rallying?
No,
I was listening, mate. Don't worry. The guy who never listens was actually listening this time. To be fair.
No, well, yeah. I maybe I should for playing the Colin McRae games, but and I can picture it, but I genuinely can't remember what it's called.
It is the McRae R4.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
The McRae R4, wicked little car, which actually I was saying to Jack that car nowadays, Lee, is banned from British rallying because it's got a space frame, what they call a space frame chassis. Moving on to question 7: which manufacturer won the first WRC constructors title? That was Alpine Renault. Alpine Renault, back with the A110. Is that a car you like, Jack? I've got a feeling it is, yeah.
I love the A110, but I prefer the A310, which was rubbish. Oh, it was, I won't lie. It's a better touring car than it was a rally car.
All I heard there was, I like it, but it's rubbish. What? Yeah, that's like... no, I'm not going to get into this conversation.
Yeah, too late.
Colin McRae, question number 8. Colin McRae was known for crashing his car. How many retirements did he have in his WRC career? And it was quite surprising that he isn't top of the list either for retirements. Weirdly enough, our oldest champion of Hannu Mikkola is at 61. Colin McRae retired 60 times in his career. Not all from crashing the car, but quite a lot of them because he crashed the car. Now this question number 9, quite a difficult one I think for some people because it's a very much British rallying championship question. Jimmy McRae won the British Rally Championship 5 times. In 1981, 1982 he won in an Opel Ascona 400. In 1987 and 1988 he won in a Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. And what car did he win the 1984 championship in? And that was the Opel Manta 400. So slightly different from the Ascona, but the Opel Manta 400 won in the 1984 title. Which are wicked little cars which you can drive on Dirt Rally 2. And final question from the rallying section, which is actually to do with NXTGEN. What date was NXTGEN founded? Lee, I'm going to question you because you've been here longer than I have, at least, and Jack. Take your pick. What date was NXTGEN founded?
Yeah, you see, I haven't... What I know about NXTGEN, I don't know if I've quite done my research back that far, because I joined in season 4 or 5. Now, it was when Project Cars 1 came out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Set the scene. It's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's the last question. Jeremy Clarkson or Chris Tarrant, depends which one. It says, like, for £1 million, on what date was NXTGEN founded? Obviously, I haven't got any boxes of the questions. You're gonna have to tell me that. But you get the scenario. Wait,
No,
what would you say?
You've got to give me some choices. Come on.
You can have phone a friend.
I'll phone. Hang on. 0800 Jack. Jack. When was Next Gen formed? It's
I'm
for $1
sorry,
million.
the line you come through to is currently not recognised.
Unavailable.
You try again later.
Go on, Jordan, put him out of his misery.
Yeah, put me out, please, quickly.
So Next Gen was founded on the 9th of November 2014.
Yeah, sounds about right.
9th of November 2014.
Yeah, sounds legit. Yep, say that, yeah.
Right, over to you, Jack and Mikey and Lee, and whilst I quickly go and tally these up.
Yeah, so I'll just talk for a few minutes. And I actually wanted to have a very quick chat actually about a game that is not a racing game, but how it's going to actually sort of, its development has gone through such a difficult time that it might just have a nice positive effect on all of the subsequent game releases. Doesn't matter whether it's racing, first person shooter, action RPG, roleplay, whatever it is. We know, or for those that are into the game in any way, for those that aren't, I'll give you a bit of background. Cyberpunk 2077. This is a game that has been hyped beyond belief. This is something not even I've never come across in my lifetime. It was blown up to be arguably probably the biggest game in the last 10 years of releases. Leading up to this, it was being praised. It won over 250 game awards, despite no one having actually played it at this point. And then at launch date, it was a big load pile of wallop. It was bugged beyond belief. The console versions were atrocious at launch, to say little of them. Frame rates completely collapsed. Games crashed on launch. They had a problem with the save file, where if your save was bigger than 8 megabytes, it would corrupt your data. There was a whole litany of issues, to the point where PlayStation themselves got involved and said, okay, Cyberpunk, the developers, who are CD Projekt Red, famous for creating the Witcher games, for those that are aware, big successes with the Witcher games, of course. And CD Projekt Red had put an announcement out to say, contact retailer or whoever you've bought it from. And in the end, PlayStation just said, you know what, you've messed it up that much, we're going to take it off the PSN store completely. This is a AAA game we're talking about here. This is a massive, big budget game. We're not talking about your sort of independent titles. You'd look at Project Cars 2 or even Race Room or Assetto Corsa as sort of smaller independent studios. This is a big studio. We're not talking, very highly reputable before Cyberpunk came out. For a big company such as PlayStation to pull it from the store has massive consequences, not just because you can't buy the game digitally now on PSN unless they've reinstated it, as far as I'm aware. I'll let you check that, Mike, for us. But this is huge. Quality control is massive. We talk about bugs in games quite a lot. Project Cars 2, Project Cars 1,
Assassin's Creed,
we could go on, the list could go on. But this is brilliant for everyone else, because, yeah, rightfully so, CD Projekt Red are getting criticised for releasing a game in such a state that it was so unbaked on consoles that it had to be taken off. They're all going to be now the new generation of games on console and for PC, and admittedly Steam's quality service of checks is practically non-existent realistically when it comes to bugs. But for console future owners, this is a positive thing. It's going to make the big budget developers sit up and take notice. You're looking at I'm looking at the big AAA titles. You're looking at Gran Turismo Sport as the biggest racing game. Let's be honest, it is. Regardless of whether you love it or hate it, it is the biggest racing game in the world. It's going to set, hopefully, a precedent from now on for game companies to launch games in a much better state, because It can't continue. This is the thing with pre-orders. We've got games that are going to be costing £70 at launch nowadays in the UK with the new consoles. I think Steam are increasing their prices in some respects for some games, depending on who's developed it, which is a complete con in itself. But that's a big topic we could get into another time. But it's got to be a positive thing, hasn't it? That big developer, big companies such as PlayStation have took it on board and gone, we're not standing for it, off you go.
Well, it's actually not just PlayStation that's took this approach. Microsoft have obviously also come forward, done the same thing. Obviously, there's also been issues with retailers. Retailers will not take the game back.
Yep.
CD Projekt Red have actually stated if this is an issue that you need to get hold of them. So obviously, what they'll do, the retailers refusing point blankly. Obviously, if you've got your receipt or anything like that. Obviously, for what I know in the UK, certain companies have a certain policy in regards to return of items. It could be there's no thingy, or it's 7 days, 28 days, whatever. Obviously, if it's in a reasonable condition, obviously for certain, you don't not going to go back with a shredded game or whatever. But anyway, they've actually turned around, and I see the thread where a member of the customer support, if I correctly remember, actually stated on an email or whatever to someone who'd asked the question, to give them the details of the retailer, obviously all the information, and then they would chase it up. I'm not really sure how it ended, but
well, it's not.
But whether they got a refund or whatever. But to be fair, kudos to CD Projekt Red, for putting their hands up and going, listen, we've been wrong. Fair enough. We're getting criticised for this. Obviously, they should. The game should be. At the end of the day, you're asking £60 for a game. You want it to work. You don't want all these issues. This is games. No disrespect to the little guys, but this is games like £2-3 indie games. Stuff like that. You'd expect this sort of issue from, not from a company with that sort of reputation. You're making, especially if it's got the likes of, I know it's kind of over the top, but Keanu Reeves as a big. Because let's be fair, a massive sell point to me was because I was considering getting it, as you know, off the basis of the same guy who did Witcher, which I spent many an hour playing. I still haven't finished. And obviously, I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan, so to me, I was like, well, sold. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I was going to wait for it to drop down price a little bit, and then get it. But to be fair to the CD Projekt Red, they've put their hands up, apologised, and if anything, me personally, I find it quite respectful of them to go, listen, we're in the wrong here, we'll refund you. No questions asked, nothing like that. Fair enough, it might have been bad publicity, but how many games companies would you know that would turn around to do the exact same action that they've just took? If they were in the same position.
As someone who owns the game, and I'll be brutally honest with you, I absolutely love the game, you cannot release a game in that state in any way, shape or form.
I'm not defending them in that way.
You cannot. I'm literally, this game, I've been waiting for this game for 7 years, and that was when it was first announced. I still remember the launch trailer to this, the announcement trailer to this very day, and I didn't hype it up, but I've been looking forward to it for 7 years. That's how this hype train has sort of begun. And the only reason why I bring it up is because Lee alluded to it before. There were certain claims by certain developers, aka a certain Mr. Bell. We'll put it at that. Like you get with those little church bells, ding ding ding, that sort of thing. A certain man by the name of Bell made very big promises about a certain game series that might rhyme with Fars, and it has a number 3, and it didn't go the right way that it was expected to, and now no one can bloody trust a word that comes out of his mouth. Personal opinion on that one. This is not a review of Next Gen, but this is the point, and I'm going to bring it to a close because we could talk about this forever, and it's 11 o'clock, and I'm tired.
I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I've got the results as well.
I knew Jordan had the results ready to go. I think that this can only be a good thing, that the big companies like Nintendo, like Microsoft, like PlayStation, hopefully like Valve, and maybe even Epic Games to a certain extent, will knuckle down on this practice and get it sorted, because you can, for the games becoming 70 quid in the UK, you can't. I can no longer sit here now and say I will pre-order a game unless it's I don't know. I don't even know if I can. That's a horrible thing to say.
It gets worse as well when you pay, like most games nowadays, you pay 50-60 quid for it, and then they release a DLC for an additional cost on top, you know, so some of these games can be up to the cost of £100, you know. So
let's save that for another episode.
Oh god, yeah.
But
it's a good point to end on, I think.
I think, quick one, I've just checked the PS Store and can confirm at this moment in time, it's actually not on there. It's not and void. The only thing is, Rogue Company.
That's not Cyberpunk.
Dead by Daylight. No, but that's what I'm saying. As you put Cyberpunk, literally that is the only two things that go up. It's Dead by Daylight. That is it.
Right, let's get on to more positive matters. Jordan, results.
Yes. Results are in, and I think we definitely got the question order correctly, because most people done fairly well on the British touring car section. Moderately, not too well, apart from Dave Whitehouse on the F1, and very very little points. Very little points in the rallying. So the winner, actually we'll go from the bottom. So in last place is Benjamin McCluskey, who is Boy Raxer 14. He got 6 points out of a possible 36.
Did we make it
6 more than
I
would have got.
But the funniest thing, I've left his form up in front of me. The funniest answer I've seen on here is from him, and that is who won the first British Touring Car Championship in 1958. He put Scooby G.
I don't think he was that old, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
I thought that was quite amusing. So he was 5th and last. In 4th place was Tom Porter, TP86 Racing, who used to race on GT Sport, that races on PC. He got 8 points. I must also note the breakdown. Benji's points, 5 came from British Touring Cars, 1 from F1, none from rallying. Tom Porter got 8. He got 6 from F1, 6 from British Touring Cars, 2 from F1, and none from the rallying. In 3rd place is Lee Harding, Bruce Lee Harding in the PlayStation world. He got 9 points. He took 4 away from the British Touring Cars, 2 from the F1 and 3 from the rallying. In 2nd was Phil Gibbon, P Gibb 92, Gibbo for pole, as most people say nowadays. He took away 11 points, 8 from the British Touring Cars, 2 from the F1 and 1 from the rallying. So the winner is Dave Whitehouse, who took 26 out of a possible 36. 9 from the British Touring Cars. That's 9 out of 13 for the Touring Cars. 12 out of 13 for the F1, so almost a full house.
What didn't he get?
What didn't he get? That is a good question. Quickly go back and have a quick gander. I got Gurney, got that one. Got that one, got that one. I got that one. He was 10 Grand Prix away from the Cologne question. He put 58.
That's not a bad guess, to be fair.
Which is quite good. So 12 out of 13 for the F1, and he took 5 out of a possible 10 on the rallying.
I thought that was an easy quiz.
I thought it was hard, actually, to be honest.
To to be fair, Jack, when you say it's easy, that does normally mean other people don't understand a word you're saying.
I don't know half the time, and I've known him for 15 years. You know what I mean? It's
I've known myself for 25. I completely forget what I've said.
yeah, I have to remind you for the past 15 years.
So, Dave, you are the winner. You receive many kudos and congratulations. Unfortunately, we don't have a prize other than the fact that you could say you are the first Turbo Tuesday quiz champion. He's got to defend his crown for the new one that'll be in at the end of this season, because we'll do another one.
Oh yeah.
I know for a fact though we had more answers than that from people. I don't know where they've gone.
Well, I know on the stream we had Dave Whitehouse, Lee, and Tom Porter and P. Gibb.
There were a few others on there.
There was a few watchers, but I don't know how many people actually decided to go, because I wonder if some people kind of looked at the question set and just went, no.
Yeah. just listened in for the question. It's like when you go to these general like pub quizzes and you're like, question 1, and you think, oh, I'm gonna ace this, and it's like this weird question. You think, oh, I'm not doing that. You just like, you just go to the bar and get another drink. Just me. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think it was a good quiz, I thought. But you got all your answers. If you want to dispute them, feel free to email us at we don't care what your dispute is at hotmail.co.uk or .com, whatever.
Sorry, that's the wrong email address. You need the dots between each word.
Yeah, okay. But that is it for tonight, unless I've forgotten something.
No, I think so. P. Gibbs just commented, sorry, about the results. He put second. That's a next-gen personal result for him. Personal best result.
Happy days. Well, it's always good to say that we are the sharers of knowledge. So,
some good, some bad.
The only thing we did miss, boys, was the Lamborghini League, which we'll probably have more info on next week because that happened tonight as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think, obviously, on behalf of the three of us, I just want to thank Lee for spending this time this evening to come and to join ourselves.
He's probably flicked the PlayStation on. He's flicked his PlayStation on, and he's just left his headset on and just been playing the PC whilst we've been chatting.
No, I'm here. Hello.
He's just watching match of the day, and he's just like, yeah.
No, I was listening, but my PlayStation must have gone into a sleep mode, and I thought you could hear me when you couldn't, so I've been talking to myself for 10 minutes. No, not really, but it was nice to come on, guys. I've enjoyed coming on, and I will take this opportunity to thank you three, because you put all this effort in, you do these really cool podcasts that everyone can listen back to, and gives everyone a load of information. People that obviously catch it for the first time and know that they can come along to NXTGEN and get involved with some leagues, whether it be on console or PC, and join them with the fun. So, but yeah, thanks to you three for putting this together. It's really cool, and it's nice to come on.
Oh, thanks, man. I think obviously it's bye from Jack.
See you later.
Bye from Jordan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye for me. Wherever you are in the world, as Michael colleague always says. Stay safe and see you later.